Hi, this is Suman Roy, and today is the final day on the high level political forum on sustainable development. It's been 2 weeks I've been here, and I just wanted to share some reflection on how my 2 weeks went. It was really interesting. Week one was very different from week two. Week one was full of learning about the SDGs, learning about where we are in the world, how different countries are performing on the few SDGs that we focused on this year. And it was an experience, it's hard to put in words. Um, I learned that we are way behind on our 2030 goal globally. In Canada, we have done a few really amazing programs to contribute towards the advancement of some of the goals. But overall, as a world, we are lacking. And it is not just what one country does. There is no wall that can be built around a country that can go way up to the sky that we do not need to share the air, the climate, or anything. It is all one. And the development of the least prosperous country is where we are in the world on development of the world. It's really interesting how zero hunger, climate action, poverty, we actually regressed over the last few years. I understand when it comes to poverty or zero hunger because of the global pandemic that we went through. I understand the regression. But what I was really surprised is where are we going wrong on climate action? During pandemic, if anything, we saw things going better, but then over the last couple of years we regressed. This is something that is of concern. In first week, I had a lot of disappointments. A lot of disappointments, not in anything one particular, but disappointment that as a world community, we have not been able to make a sustainable difference. But week two was certainly full of hope. Week two was certainly full of networking, meeting people around the world, meeting ministers from different countries around the world, and having conversations about programs that they are doing in their country to advance the sustainable development goals. And I'm sure there are some great ideas that came up to my mind that I'm going to bring back to Toronto, bring back to Canada, to see if that is something that we can actually execute in our country to make it even better. Over the next little while, I've been making appointments and meeting with a few community leaders across the country to talk about some of these ideas and see how we can collaborate and partner with to have a hunger free, resilient Canada. In the second week, we talked a lot about youth being our future. Every country around the world talked about empowering the youth. But where my frustration stays is we talk about empowering the youth, we give them a place. However, we fail to give them actual power that might make a difference to our world. And that is something we need to be serious about. For people those who know, in my past life I was the executive director of an organization called Meal Exchange, where we worked on hunger and food insecurity on post-secondary campuses from coast to coast to coast. And still we know how many students goes to bed hungry. I have heard people in power talk about hungry students and romanticizing hungry students. That's not acceptable. In a country like Canada, in the world, where would it be acceptable? We have billions of people, 2.4 billion to be exact, who has food insecurity and is suffering. Why is that acceptable to see another human being not have the basic human right to live by having 2 meals a day? That is unacceptable. But we have been accepting it. We have been talking about food as a human right in Canada, across the world. However, in Canada, we know 1 in 5 Canadians go to bed hungry. We know the demand for food banks. That's not food security. That's just a band aid that we are putting on people. We need systemic solutions. We need policies. We need empowering our youth, empowering our communities so they can all stand up on their own feet if they choose to. With this, I've my reflection is I'm looking at each and every one of you, because sustainable development is not a job of one person. It is not only the job of the government. It's not only the job of community leaders. It is the job of everybody. Every one of you needs to be committed to have a better world, to have a better life for everyone, not one. A progress of a community only shows where the most vulnerable lives. We cannot have a community which is progressing when people are on the side of the street and do not have shelter, when people do not have meals to eat. That is not a progressive community. I cannot finish this without thanking the Canadian government, Minister Jen Assad's, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, for having that confidence and allowing me to be a part of this high level political forum at the United Nations as an official Canadian delegate. And here is my commitment to you. I'm going to make sure my learning will make a difference in life of regular Canadians. And I will figure out how to do that. We have been doing some of it in the Scarborough community for the last 4 years, but that's not it. There will be more, and I will make sure that Canada will be a better place. Let's all come together and commit to making a difference, a change where together we will have a hunger free, resilient Scarborough, a hunger free, resilient Canada, and a hunger free, resilient world. Thank you for listening, and I hope to get your support and to hope that to get all of you out and making that little difference. Thank you.